My mother looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You weren't born to be happy. You were born to help your sister." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the same one where I'd done homework, cried over breakups, planned my future. My sister was in the living room on the phone, laughing, carefree. I had just told my parents I got accepted into a graduate program in another state. A full scholarship. My dream. My dad didn't even look up from his coffee. "Who's going to take care of your sister?" he asked. I blinked. "She's 24. She has a job." My mom shook her head slowly, like I was the one being unreasonable. "You know she needs support. You've always been the strong one." Then she said it. The sentence that rewired my entire childhood in one moment. "Your purpose was never to build your own life. It was to make hers easier." I felt the room tilt. "What do you mean?" "Purpose," I whispered. My dad finally looked at me. "When you were born, we already knew your sister would need help. You were our backup, our safety net. Backup. Like a spare tire, like a tool, like something created to be used." "So my dreams don't matter?" I asked. My mom sighed, annoyed. "Don't be dramatic. You'll still live. Just around her needs. Around. Always around." I suddenly remembered every time I'd had to cancel plans to babysit. Every job I turned down because it was too far from your sister. Every relationship my parents said was a distraction from your responsibilities. They weren't protecting her. They were assigning me, and the worst part? They said it like it was love. Like they were proud of themselves. I sat there, shaking, realizing something terrifying. They never saw me as a daughter. They saw me as support staff. And what my sister said next from the other room proved she knew it too. From the living room, my sister's voice floated in, light and, I'm careless. "Mom, tell her I can't handle all this alone." She laughed into her phone. "She'll do it. She always does." "She always does." I stood up slowly and walked toward the doorway. "Do what?" I asked. My sister Lila looked up, surprised, then smiled like nothing was wrong. "You know, help. You're good at that." Help meant driving her everywhere, fixing her mistakes, covering for her at work, giving up weekends, opportunities, relationships. "You're talking about my life," I said quietly. She rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic? You're the reliable one. That's your role." Role. The word sliced through me. I looked back at my parents. They didn't deny it. My mother folded her hands. "We raised you to be responsible." "No," I said. "You raised me to disappear." Silence. Then my father said, "You're selfish if you walk away now. Your sister needs you." Lila nodded. "Yeah. You owe me." "Owe you?" My voice cracked. "For being born second?" My mother's face hardened. "You were born for balance. She was fragile. You were strong. That's how families work." I felt something inside me finally break. "I got into grad school," I said again. "A full scholarship. I earned that." "And we're proud," my mother said quickly. "But you'll have to defer, at least a few years." "A few years turns into forever," I whispered. Lila stood and walked past me, squeezing my shoulder. "Don't be so intense. You'll still have a life. Just after me. After. Always after." That night, lying in my childhood bed, I realized something that made my stomach twist. They weren't asking. They were expecting. And if I said no, I wouldn't just be disappointing them. I would be betraying the role they'd built my entire identity around. But what happened the next morning made me realize just how far they were willing to go to keep me trapped. The next morning, my mom knocked on my door before I was even fully awake. "We need to talk," she said. I followed her to the kitchen, where my dad and Lila were already sitting. It felt like an intervention. Or a trial. My mom slid an envelope across the table. Inside were printouts. My acceptance letter, my scholarship details, my housing offer. "We called the program," my dad said calmly. "Asked about deferring." My heart dropped. "You called without me?" "We had to," my mom replied. "We needed to understand our options. Our options." "They said you can defer for up to 2 years," she continued. "So that's what you'll do." "That's not your decision," I said, my voice shaking. Lila leaned back in her chair. "Why are you making this so hard? It's not like you're abandoning us. You're just staying. Staying. Like a life on pause wasn't a life at all." "I'm not staying," I said. "I'm going." My dad's jaw tightened. "You're being reckless. Reckless for wanting my own future? For leaving your sister when she needs you most. He shot back. Lila's eyes welled up on cue. I can't do this alone, she whispered. You know that. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized something that hurt more than their words. She believed it. She believed I was built for this, that my dreams were optional, that her needs were permanent. I love you, I said softly, but I am not your caretaker. My mom's face went cold. Then you're choosing yourself over family. Yes, I said. For the first time. Silence fell heavy over the table, and in that silence, I understood the cost. If I walked away, I wouldn't just be leaving a house. I'd be breaking the story they'd written for me since birth. The one where I existed to hold everyone else up while never being allowed to stand on my own. What they did next was their last attempt to pull me back into that story. They didn't yell. They didn't threaten. They did something worse. They cried. My mom's eyes filled first. We sacrificed everything for you, she whispered. And now you're turning your back on us. My dad sighed deeply like a disappointed teacher. After all we've done, this is how you repay us? Lila started sobbing, covering her face. I don't know how I'll survive without you, she said between breaths. You're all I have. And just like that, the weight settled back onto my shoulders. Guilt, responsibility, fear, the tools they'd always used. You're being cruel, my mom said softly. Your sister is fragile. You're strong. Why can't you just carry a little more? A little more. It had always been a little more. A little more time. A little more sacrifice. A little more of me. Until there was nothing left. I'm not strong, I said quietly. I've just never been allowed to be weak. They froze. My dad frowned. That doesn't make sense. It does, I replied. You never asked what I wanted. You just decided who I had to be. Lila looked up at me, eyes red. You're abandoning me. No, I said. I'm finally choosing myself. My mom's voice hardened. If you walk out that door, don't expect things to be the same. I nodded. I don't want them to be. I went back to my room and packed. Every shirt felt like a betrayal. Every book felt like a goodbye. At the door, my father said, You'll regret this. I met his eyes. I already regret the life I never got to live. And I walked out. But what happened after I left proved that freedom always comes with a price. They didn't come after me. That hurt more than I expected. No frantic calls. No, please come back. No last-minute change of heart. Just silence. For weeks. I moved into a tiny studio near campus, slept on a mattress on the floor, and cried every night like I'd done something unforgivable. Not because I missed the house, but because a part of me still believed their story, that I was selfish, that I was abandoning my purpose. Then one evening, my sister called. Her voice was small, tired. They're making me handle things on my own now, she said. It's hard. I waited for the guilt to rush back. It didn't. I know, I said gently. But you can. She was quiet. You were always the one who fixed everything. No, I replied. I was the one they assigned to fix everything. Another silence. And in that pause, something shifted. Not magically, not perfectly, but honestly. Months later, I got a message from my mom. Your sister's learning to stand on her own. We never realized how much we leaned on you. It wasn't an apology, but it was the first crack in the truth. I didn't go back. I didn't move home. I didn't give up my life. And for the first time, I understood something simple and powerful. I wasn't born to support someone else's existence. I was born to have one of my own. And choosing that wasn't betrayal. It was survival.